excited to be here. As I was saying earlier in our conversation, Cannes isn't just a celebration, it's where conversations happen. And today I'm really excited to be able to connect with somebody who is a true innovator within the commerce and data space. I'm here to welcome our incredible partner, who is Dr. Mark Grether with PayPal Ads. And I'm Laurel Burton. I'm a 20-year agency veteran. I'm currently the CEO over at Instrument. We sit at the intersection of taste and technology, which is where I see PayPal. And what I love about our partnership that we have with you is that you are fundamentally reimagining ads and commerce. And so I have to introduce him very quickly because he's got a really impressive CV. Dr. Mark Grether, who's the force behind PayPal's bold step into the ad world. He built Uber's ad business into a $1 billion powerhouse with 500,000 advertisers globally. Shaped Amazon's ad strategy, led Seismic to be acquired by Amazon, and co-founded Xaxis under WPP. Now at PayPal, he's architecting a commerce-first ads platform powered by 400 million accounts and $1 trillion in transactions annually, making him one of the clearest voices on where advertising meets real buying intent. So I think what's incredible to have you here today is PayPal has unmatched commerce data, global scale, and trusted relationships with consumers. You're building something that can fundamentally redefine how advertising works, starting not with attention, but with action. So we're at Cannes. We've got nothing but advertisers here, and they are curious, and they are creative, and they're probably a little skeptical. And you've joined PayPal at an incredibly transformative moment. So why PayPal? Why ads? Why now? And what's the vision you're leading with your team?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And it's really a great opportunity here to be in Cannes and to basically bring PayPal advertising to light. As you mentioned, we have indeed what we call our transaction graph, which is powered by 400 million consumers globally and 30 million merchants. We see about 25% of all global commerce. As next door's Facebook has there's a social graph in the direction as TikTok having an interest graph, we have the transaction graph. And we are leveraging now the transaction graph to empower both brands and agencies, right, to run campaigns across our own properties, which is PayPal, Venmo, and Honey. But we also launched our offsite business, which means that we have the reach and frequency of the open web at our fingertips, combined with the transaction data. And I do think it's a really, really powerful kind of opportunity for our advertisers, because they typically want to run campaigns holistically across many, many, many merchants where their products are getting bought. And we have the insights to help them doing that, right? We know where the Nike shoe is bought on all the different kind of merchant stores, right? We know where we buy our sunglasses from Ray-Ban, right? Across all the merchants. And so we have now the opportunity to become basically a one-stop solution based off the transaction graph for big brands and big agencies. We can help them, for example, to give them insights into who is buying the products, what else are they buying, right? What are they buying before, what they are buying afterwards. We can show them what is the market share for their specific brand or specific product, right? How is market share evolving over time? Where should they invest their dollars to increase market share? Which merchants is performing better than others, right? And so we're sitting basically with this transaction data on a huge amount of opportunities to lean in with insights. To basically start any conversation with insights. But that's not where we're stopping. The good thing about the fact that we have transaction data and that we have the PayPal rails is we can also then close the loop. And we can close the loop not just on one single merchant. Again, we're sitting horizontally across all of them. And so here at Cannes, we are so excited to launch our latest product, which we call storefront ads. Which basically empowers merchants to bring their storefront in front of the consumers. So the consumers no longer need to go to a specific merchant website. Wherever the consumer is, the merchant can bring the storefront to them. And it means, let's say you are on a specific, website, let's say Business Insider, right? As a consumer, you may check out Business Insider, and then you see the Nike ad or the Ray-Ban ad, right? Or the Apple AirPod. on Business Insider, and then you can basically with one click purchase this product on the website or on the app, without the need to actually go back to a merchant, without the friction of doing it somewhere else, without the need of putting in your credit card data or filling out your address, because PayPal has that, as I mentioned, from 400 million users. So that really enables now the merchants to go where the consumer is and offers them a frictionless, one-click basically purchasing opportunity. And that's why we can bring together the transaction data and the kind of awareness and kind of advertising opportunities in a closed loop attribution across so many outlets. And it's, I think, really, really fascinating and exciting.
Well, you've said a few things in there that I think are really interesting. And I'm curious also your perspective as to why now? Like, what is this moment in time that you've had all this incredible data at PayPal, and I know this is your new role, but what was the antithesis behind we are shifting the way that these ads need to be served and interacted with? Yeah.
Well, we have at PayPal a brand new team, right? Starting from our CEO, Alex Chris. So the entire management team is now brand new. And so as a team, right, we are now working on the redefinition of PayPal, Venmo, Honey, and the PayPal advertising business, right? And so we all came together, and it's really, really exciting to see what as a team we can do. You might have seen the launches of the PayPal app, the launch of the Venmo debit card in the US. You might have seen what we just did 2 weeks ago in Germany. So there's an incredible momentum in the organization coming from all these kind of new leaders. And as such, it's kind of our moment, right, to build something new. And so PayPal Ads is kind of our joint baby, right? It's us, and that is a really fascinating and exciting opportunity to kind of build it all together as a dream team.
And so to pull on that a little bit more, I am curious to hear your perspective on potential blind spots, because this is an incredible new opportunity. And so what is one thing that you would say this is disrupting within the industry and advertisers, and what is the blind spot that you could say to your advertisers in this next era?
A couple of things. I mean, the first one is that many advertisers, right, they don't know yet that PayPal advertising is a big thing to watch and to lean in. I'm really, really positively surprised to see how many of our agency partners are actually really leaning into it. And I think one of the main reasons is, as I mentioned, we are sitting across all these merchants with our transaction graph. It's very much what agencies do, right? They're sitting across all the media opportunities, right? And so we are basically speaking their language. We are helping them in this kind of horizontality in media planning and media activation. So they are leaning in, but advertisers definitely need to learn more about the opportunities that we can provide to them. And especially, I think our merchants also need to lean into what does actually AI means to them. Right? Where are consumers purchasing in the future? And again, that's also one of the reasons why we launched storefront ads, to give them more opportunities as a merchant to engage with consumers wherever the consumer is. Because one of the hypotheses that I have is that less and less the consumers will go to a specific merchant website or app, right? They will either buy in an agentic environment, or they buy wherever they are and get the opportunity to make purchases. So I do think as an industry, the industry is moving so quickly that we just need to really lean in and leveraging AI in a really profound way, but also in a fast way. And in this AI environment, another interesting piece is about, as AI is so new to us, I'm not sure how often you bought something that was initiated, let's say, by Perplexity, right? It's still something new. And hence, you're looking for the brands that you trust in such an environment. And when it comes to payment, you trust PayPal as a payment instrument, right? So we are basically giving players like Perplexity and the consumers who then shop on Perplexity the confidence as they then pay with PayPal, which I think is a really exciting kind of win-win situation.
I'm curious, you're hitting on a few things that are really interesting. When I think about from an agency standpoint, I want to be able to put in front of the strategies that work best for my brands.
Yeah.
And a lot of what you're talking about is new, it's emerging, it's people even thinking about, okay, what is the deployment strategy? What does this look like across
Yeah.
brand and machine. But usually there's some industries that are more apt to be experimental in a standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So for where you're pushing PayPal ads, do you feel that there's a specific market or industry that is ready and going to be able to adopt this and could see that kind of like early results for what you're talking about?
Yeah, so we see on the one hand, as I mentioned, agencies leaning in. On the brand side, we have retailers who lean in. We have a lot of fashion who leans in. We have travel. We also have a lot of CPG advertisers who are actually leaning into it. What's interesting is that many conversations now are shifting away from incrementality to market share. Incrementality is typically a KPI that you care about if you're a single retailer with one single destination and you want to show to the advertiser what is the incremental ROI of the advertiser spending money on your own property. But that's actually a second order question. The first order question is, as a CFO, what actually is my market share? And how is my market share actually trending over time? And based on that, I then define how much money I want to invest into marketing to increase my market share. And then the second question is to the CMO, okay, how do you best deploy the marketing dollars that were given from the CFO to you? And then it's about the allocation between different outlets and then the incrementality. Now, as we are seeing everything horizontally across all the merchants, we can help the brands with both questions. We can help them on the one hand with market share, defining the budget size. We can show them how market shares is going up and down. And then in the second order, we can also help them with incrementality. But being able to do both, I think, is an interesting conversation that we have with our brands, and it helps them to more, I would say, holistically optimize and be more efficient in the way how they are deploying their marketing dollars.
Do you feel that the new platform that you're pushing for PayPal is going to be set up to support this like agentic AI wave that's coming? And if so, I'd love to hear more as brands think about buying not just for consumers, but for agents and machines that are now the first point of contact.
Yeah, I mean, I still believe, at least for the time being, that we as consumers still make the end decision, the end purchase decision, right? The agent may help us to give us better recommendations, right? And so the purchasing process might be condensed, but I do still believe that we are making the end decision, right? And you see, therefore, in an agentic environment, the recommendations, they are maybe not 100 recommendations, maybe just a handful, right? But we still then pick the right one within that. And that means for me that we need to basically, again, be where the purchase actually happens. That's also why we did integrations with the AI providers to enable the purchasing behavior in AI, like we PayPal 25 years ago enabled online buying, right? And now we are enabling kind of AI buying, if you like to use the word. And so that's what we're seeing. And as I mentioned, with the storefront ads, we then help the merchants to, again, be everywhere consumers are, whether it's now on their website, anywhere in the open web, whether it's in agentic. We need to be there and make sure that we help with the right purchases. The other thing which is interesting is that given that we have the transaction graph, we can also help the merchants to make these recommendations smarter and more relevant to the consumers, right? Because typically a merchant only sees a fraction of consumer behavior, only what happens on the app, on the web, and may not have a high frequency of interactions with the consumer. So the data they typically have is quite sparse, and we have so much more data, so we can actually help them to make it more relevant, which is then good for the consumers, right? And so it's a win-win opportunity for both the consumers, the merchants, and for us.
We could talk about this forever. I can tell we can.
You can. Yeah.
So we're gonna do a lightning round and then a prediction, and then we're gonna wrap because we're also in Cannes where there's an incredible amount of things happening for just there's yachts, there's sports athletes. We're having the best of it all here in Cannes. So lightning round, because our advertisers look at you as an incredible thought leader in this space. What is a podcast or a book that we all should be reading right now?
You know, I'm actually reading some emails every Friday, right? So Scott's email, I really enjoy. Brian Weiser's email, I really do enjoy. So more the kind of the bite-sized condensed thing that I'm enjoying on a Friday to kind of to wrap up my day. So I highly recommend to read those kind of emails.
You know, and it wouldn't be canned if we didn't get to check your bingo card for saying the word generative AI in it, so we can consider that done. But I'm curious, as a tool, Claude, ChatGPT, Llama, DeepSeek, Gemini, what's your tool?
You know, I'm using ChatGPT, right? I had the pleasure to meet Nick, the product lead, and ChatGPT, who is not a German, right? So maybe that's kind of a connection between the two of us. So right now I'm using it mostly.
And where does PayPal have influence that people are underestimating?
Well, on the one hand, what's interesting is most people do not know that Venmo is part of PayPal, and that Honey is part of PayPal. Yeah. So and Venmo is really interesting because we have access to really a unique audience, a young audience, Gen Zs, right, who are really, really social on Venmo, right? They share that they just order pizza together, right, or got a new makeup, right? It's really incredible to see what they are sharing between friends on such a platform, and I think that's an opportunity that people haven't really thought about how to actually leverage that as an advertising platform, and I would say that's kind of a little a blind spot for advertisers and agencies, an opportunity for us, right, to create awareness for that opportunity.
And this is the most important question, but what is your favorite beach at Cannes so far?
Obviously, it's the influential one powered by PayPal ads, right?
Oh, and then second is Sport Beach. Because,
of course.
And together, that's why we have this synergy of partnership within
Absolutely.
it. Dr. Mark Grether, we're so excited to be able to have, and I said this earlier, a doctor of finance with us, making the next generation of what we're doing here for advertising and marketing within this space. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited to be a part of what PayPal is transforming into, and we'll see you at next Cannes.
Thank you so much for having me.